Awesome. All right.
What have you seen in the adjustments you guys have made on offense? It's allowed the offense to click in the last 2 games, especially.
I don't know. It'd be nice to have everyone that you. I think when you have guys that you've practiced with all spring and summer, and they come back and they're ready to go, I think that helps a little bit for sure. We try to put our guys in the best position to be successful, and they bought in over a tough stretch, and they just kept working. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And if we can keep improving, then we still have a chance to write our own story. And they've bought in and done that. But I think it helps when you have all your pieces that you expect going in. But guys got to step up, and if that's the case, then they got to do their deal. But I think that's the biggest thing. Guys just kept their nose to the grindstone and got out of it.
Talk about stepping up just now. Devin Cole obviously did that in the absence of Kate Otten. How important was it for him to have a monster game like that?
That was big. He had the drop he wanted the week before, and Cade's been such a steady Eddie presence that never comes off the field, and all of a sudden you're up, next man up, and he responded, and just like we thought he would. Sometimes it's tough when we only get a snap or some snaps here or there and get into his kind of rhythm personally. And I think just being in the game on a constant basis probably helped him out a little bit to just kind of just lose himself in the flow of the game.
What are you guys trying to do strategically, philosophically in the first 2 games that you evaluated and said?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to tell. We haven't gone back and really studied it. You kind of move on once you're done. Bye week, we'll probably look back and a little bit more. You try to, each play, you try to, design it to be successful, based off of who's touching the ball and whatnot. And sometimes when you have plans that get disrupted on the fly, you got to adjust and adapt. And I don't know if I did that well enough at the time. But, last couple of weeks I thought, we've done a good job as a staff trying to get the guys that can make plays for us the ball. And that's been the biggest thing. And they've made those plays. And, who knows, maybe just, first time in a couple of years playing in front of people. And it's not, it's for real and wake up call. And, and I think that they've, they just bought in and kept grinding.
Make a conscious decision to try to throw the ball more earlier in games these last couple of weeks?
I think you do what the defense allows you to do, and I think that was some of it. If they're going to get up in there and play the run like crazy, then you got to be able to throw the ball. And if they're going to play back and play soft, then you got to be able to run it. And so that's the cat and mouse you play. And I think that the last 2 weeks, that was something that we thought we could take advantage of, and we did.
After those first 2 games, unsurprisingly, there was a lot of negativity and a lot of criticism, fans calling for jobs, this and that. I'm wondering, did you hear that stuff? And if so, how do you kind of stomach the criticism?
I don't hear it. I mean, I understand the narrative. I'm a New York Mets fan, so I read that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they have 162 games, and they're either going to go to the World Series one day and then fire everybody the next day. So I get the narrative. I probably could assume what's being said, but you definitely don't want to go read that. I mean, geez. But, I understand, like, the nature of it all. But, yeah, no, you just avoid it. And, you can do it. I mean, you don't have to go searching for it. I mean, you kind of know already. I'm sure we won the last 2 games, and not many people are happy. So I get that's the nature of it. But you just got to believe in what you're doing and believe in the guys you got and try to move on to the next game. You move on to the next play during the game, and next quarter, next, overtime, whatever it is, you move on if something's good or bad.
You mentioned your plans getting disrupted in the first couple of games. Was that due to the injuries that you suffered at one?
We had some late scratches, that kind of threw us for a loop. But, and then we had to play some guys that, that can play. They just didn't have the reps that were tallied by some of the guys that have been here a little bit longer. So that was probably the biggest thing. I mean, we had guys that made plays that came in there, and there's no excuses. We got to get it done with the guys we got. And I thought the guys that came in did a good job, for not getting the amount of reps, because it's you can watch the tape and learn from somebody else only so much. You learn by doing, and but when you have certain guys that are going to play and they get most of the reps. The guys behind them got to do a great job of knowing what they're supposed to do, and they might have limited reps, and then all of a sudden they got to play. And sometimes there's a learning curve to it, and but you got to get it done, right? No excuses, no explanations. Nobody cares, right? Right? Am I right? Jacob DeGraun's out. Nobody cares, right? They still got to win.
End of the year, with everybody coming back on the offensive line and the stable running backs that you had, I think everybody expected you to have an identity of power running team, but we just haven't seen that. I think you're last in the conference in yards per game and rushing. Can you maybe give us an idea of what's going on with that?
I think it's dictated by games sometimes. Or who you got. It's tough. We got 4 guys that are legitimate back there. There's not one that's just so much better than the others. So it's hard to really just lean on one guy. I think they all have their attributes and they all can contribute in one way, shape, or form. And it's not like they're head and shoulders above or below the next guy. So I think that's the reason behind that a little bit. And then, I think people are gearing up to stop us running the ball a little bit, and, we've got to adjust, and if that's the case, we got to throw it around, and that, by throwing it, should loosen up the run game, and that's that's the game you play.
Where have you seen Dylan improve the most in his game through the first 4 games?
What's that?
Where have you seen Dylan improve the most in his game this season?
I think he settled down, even the second game, he was in a good place. I think that, your quarterback, you practice all spring and summer, and you're never getting hit, and, you never know when it's a real sack or not or whatnot. So you kind of, you got to learn that as it goes, right from the get-go. So I just think that he was able to, it was good for him to get the live reps, and now I think he's settled in and understanding like what he's getting into each and every week, and I think that helps. And, just he's been around a while, and, he kind of knows what we're trying to do on each play, and he's smart, and he works hard at it. So I think that's the biggest thing is preparation. Just helps him believe, and he's going to be all right.
How's Dylan been at checking in and out of plays when trying to take the run away, switching?
He's good at that. He's good at that. Everybody can get better. I think he's still got improvement. He's still got things he can get better at in that area. But for the most part, he's pretty locked in. He might miss one here or there and whatnot, but he's pretty good at that stuff. He puts the time in. He really works at it. He'll ask questions if he doesn't know. And sometimes it's not always what you practice. You got to be able to see and adjust and adapt on the fly. And he's, for the most part, he's pretty good when that happens.
With your guys' struggles to run the ball early on, you went into the season with a very experienced O-line and a lot of running backs. Were you surprised that you guys weren't able to be more effective early in the season doing that?
You never really expect to not do well, right? You practice and prepare to win. So whenever you're not successful, it's not fun. But so you just got to get back to work and find out why, or move on to the next opponent and see what you can do against them. And I just think it's a long season, and we've got a couple in a row here. We got some good juice, and second half of the second game, we started getting it a little bit, and hopefully we stay in that rhythm here going forward.
What have you seen from the offensive line that maybe hasn't aligned with your guys' expectations and optimism?
I don't know. They've done a good job. Last couple of weeks, I thought they've done a good job. They're getting a lot of stuff. People, like you said, they know their strengths up front, and they're gonna try to make us maybe pitch the ball around a little bit more than instead of just sitting back and letting us, hand it off 50 times a game. So I think that's got something to do with it.
We're about to talk to Taj Davis for the first time, and just how have you seen his game
Unbelievable.
From spring to fall to now?
He's probably our most improved player from last year. From spring to now, the guy's just locked in. The first game, I think he was like, it's for real. I'm having fun. I really like this. And he's just, hit the ground running, and it's hard to get him off the field. We got a few good guys there now, like you guys know, and he's earned the right to stay in the lineup some way, somehow. So he's been, I am so impressed with the way he's improved since I first got here to now. It's unbelievable. So it's a credit to him.
What is he improving the most in his game?
It's just, I think you learn something new. Sometimes it's hard to really play fast. I think that was something to it. And you know, and you're a young guy, you're just, you know, you have to learn the college game, not only physically, but mentally, and learn a new system. I think it just took him a minute. And then once he got it, now he's able to play fast and make the plays and allow his ability to kind of take over. And that's probably the biggest thing, I guess. And just him staying at it and grinding at it helped him.
Coach Lake mentioned to us that you are down on the field for the first 2 games this year to kind of get familiar with the players, and now you're not doing that anymore. What's been the biggest difference?
Yeah, I think last year was like, I told the guys, last year I didn't know anybody. They didn't know me. I didn't know the coaches. They didn't know me. So I wanted to just be down there. I didn't, you know, we had a new quarterback, all that stuff, to be able to see how everybody operates, see how they react, body language, just demeanor and everything. And, you know, so, and then I told them, my job is, your job on Saturdays to go out and make plays and play well and be productive, and my job is to put you in the best position possible. And in order for me to do that, it's probably best for me to go upstairs so I can see a little better, because I trust you guys, I trust the coaches, I trust everybody on the field now that know what they're doing. So if my job is to get you in the best position to do what you guys got to do, then it's just easier to see up top, you know? I mean, it's like, I would say it's like playing chess, right? You're looking at the board like this, you don't look at it like that. So it just makes it a little easier to see it. So like, I think it might help us, you know, a little bit in that regard. And I trust the guys that are on the field now I understand how it all works. So I think that's why.
Was that a conversation that you had with Jimmy?
No, not really. I mean, I told him that I just kind of, I felt it, you know, I felt it was time, and told him, yeah, I said, yeah, you know, and it was not a big deal. I just, you know, something had to change anyway. So, and that was one thing I already thought about. I just figured, I've done both, but you just see better upstairs. And I was on my back of my mind. And then, you know, after the second game, I'm like, all right, this got to happen, I think. So.
Been a few balls that Dylan has thrown away, maybe looked like maybe after one read or kind of early on in the play, compared to maybe what we saw last year with him maybe trying to extend things. Is that what you want to see, or is there?
I mean, you do want to make good decisions. You definitely don't want to take a sack if it's not there. Obviously, you know, you love to have his first read open and whatnot. I just think some of those plays maybe are, you know, the defense played it well, or he couldn't get onto his second progression for whatever reason, or he couldn't see it, and he just, you know, made the decision to throw it away. So, you know, it's more about that. You know, with his incompletions, it's not necessarily his inaccuracy. It's just, you know, he's making a good decision not to take a negative play, or he's not sure if he can hold it, because we don't want to hold it back there. You got 2 hitches, and then that ball needs to be out, or you need to run. And he knows he can't stand back there all day, so I think he kind of senses the timing in his feet a little bit that way.
What is Sean McGregor bring to the offense?
I mean, he's just steady Eddie, you know, he's just been around, old wise vet, you know, and just came to work every day, and he's positive, and, you know, he believes in himself, and I think that's the biggest thing.
All right, one quick one for you. In the 2 halves, you guys have kind of struggled to put together for a complete game outside the Arkansas State. Do you really think about that at all, or is that just kind of something that will come?
I mean, every play is a new play, you know. You want to get into a rhythm. I mean, obviously the last game was fresher in my mind. I mean, we came out and had like a 16-play drive to start the second half, and then we had a penalty in the red zone, which, you know, instead of the ball on the 3, now it's on the 19. That doesn't help, you know. So, you know, then we had, you know, missed the field goal and had a fumble in plus territory. So those kind of things hurt, but you got to be able to move on. You know, we definitely didn't get into the rhythm in the fourth quarter we wanted to get into, but all I know is that we showed up in overtime and got it done. So we were able to respond from that. And your goal is to always score every time we touch the ball, right, Taj? But our plan is to score. That's what we want to do, and that won't change going forward. And, you know, obviously it won't always happen, but, you know, that's the goal.
You talked before about the balance between, you know, attacking the opponent's weaknesses and scheme, and then just having guys on your offense who you need to get the ball to a bunch every game. Who coming out of fall camp did you kind of have in mind for that, and how much of a factor were Roman, Jalen in that?
I mean, they had a lot of reps. They made a lot of plays for us, so obviously you have them in mind some way, shape, or form, and then, you know, they don't play, and then other guys got to step up, like my man Taj here, and he made a lot of plays, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, hey, now he's made plays, so he's earned the right to keep playing. You know, he played for a reason, because you know we had some guys that earned the right to be where they were, and he stepped up, made a play, and he just kind of go from there. He just, you know, and it's week to week who you have this week and who you feel good about and what they do and what we want to get done on each play. So, you know, I think we got some guys that can make some plays. So.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Who's up? Todd, you up?
Todd's up.
Yo, most improved player.
Okay. We got Big Kern waiting too, so.
Hey, Taj.
That's good, that's it.
Hey Taj, I'm wondering, we talked to Junior maybe 2 weeks ago, and he told us about sitting down with you after a meeting, maybe midway through spring, and just having a pretty frank conversation, and then after that, seeing your game kind of explode.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what you remember about that meeting, and if it made an impact on you, or just what your recollection of it.
Yeah. Well, the meeting was actually in here. You know, he kind of just held me after the position meeting we had, and he kind of just sat me down and told me he wanted to see more from me, you know, because he knew there was more in me, and he kind of just called me out, you know, just the way I was moving at practice. And then from that point on, I kind of flipped the switch in my head, and I kind of just started accomplishing each and every goal, step by step, and led me here.
You obviously didn't play last season. Just what did you kind of learn about yourself last season that you came into this spring with?
Yeah, I actually got to learn a lot. Personally, I got to see myself as, you know, who I am, who I truly am. I got to find myself, which helped me on the field. So once I was able to come here, I was kind of just able to strictly focus on just football, and everything else I had going on personally and, you know, physically, I was able to just block that noise out and, you know, knock out each and every goal.
When you opted out last season, obviously that's a personal choice, but some of those guys haven't come back to the team. Did you always know you were going to come back?
Oh yeah, I always knew I was going to come back. I actually opted out because of a medical reason. So, you know, making that decision obviously is hard, but knowing that I'll be able to come back and hopefully contribute, that was just always in my head. So that kind of just motivated me to get to where I'm at right now.
Knowing that you were coming back, but not being able to play, not being able to be there, how tough was it watching games last year? How weird was it? What was that like?
Man, it was really tough. It was very tough for me. You know, at first it was real hard, you know, seeing my brothers out there playing without me. And, you know, even if it's me being on the sideline, I just wanted to be there. But, you know, I moved on, and I'm here now, so.
Did you go home, or?
Yeah, I went back to California. Yes, spent time with my family, just got right mentally and stuff. So, yep.
Making the strides that you've made, I mean, can you pinpoint what has allowed you to do that? Was it, like you just said, a mental thing in terms of flipping a switch, or what do you think has allowed you to break through the way that you have?
Yeah, well, mainly it was first setting a goal for myself. So I was just set a goal, you know, if it was me being able to start running with the ones in fall camp, that was the goal, then that was the goal. If it was me getting over 5 catches in my first game, or whatever it is, whatever the goal was at hand, I just set it, and then everything I did, just put all my energy in to accomplish that goal.
You committed pretty early on to Coach Lubick, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a change. Coach Adams came in.
Yeah.
Before. What was that whole process kind of like?
Honestly, it was a blessing. I think Coach Adams is a very good coach. I think he's a great person, and I think he has a lot of good tips that I'm able to benefit from. So just having a guy like that to be able to come in my corner and, you know, help us all out, we see that we're all developing. So it's definitely something that I'm grateful for.
How much do you guys feed off each other in that wide receiver room?
Say again?
Jalen and Terrell and you are 3 of the top 10 receivers in the Pac-12 just in terms of yards per game. How much do you guys feed off of each other and motivate each other each week and every game, just kind of really challenge each other to raise each other's game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we bring a lot of energy. Jalen himself, he brings a lot of energy. Terrell brings energy. And honestly, everybody in the room brings energy that we all kind of just tie in together. We have this thing called Ubuntu, which pretty much means I am who you are. So we take that very personally, and it's something that just is very strong in our room. So
Where'd that come from?
Coach Adams, he's the one that brought it in, and it kind of just all brought us together in a tight-knit group, and it's working well right now.
Was that this offseason that he kind of introduced that?
He introduced it last year, actually, but this year is kind of when we kind of all bought in, we're all in right now, so it's definitely showing.
I'm curious, you make your first start against Montana, and all of a sudden, there are these 3 guys and then 4 guys in your room that are out, and it probably was a bit of a shock to the system. But what was that game like for you, being thrust into that role, and just the experience of that? What was that like?
Honestly, it wasn't too much. I was preparing like I was starting anyways for myself. So mentally, I was preparing like I was starting. Physically, I was preparing like I was starting. So when the time came and I was really starting, I was ready. And I'm going to continue to stay ready.
This past Saturday, you had the touchdown reception where there's this defender draped on your back. I mean, is that like something that made you proud to haul that ball in with the strength of your hands?
Yeah, it was more so a good ball by Demo. But yeah, it was definitely a great grab, for my first touchdown. I'm very grateful for that.
Did you keep the ball afterwards?
I didn't, but I kept the gloves. Yep.
What are when you're waiting a couple of years for that, you couldn't play last season and everything, when you get the first touchdown, what are the emotions that are going through you in that moment? Especially with the full student section, you're on that end of the field and everything.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably one of the greatest feelings I had. Just a splurge of energy. It was good. I see the pictures now. I see that Jalen, Rome, TB, they're all around me. So it's just good just having all my guys around me in that moment and be able to celebrate that with them.
Josh, you've been up here for a while now, but I'm just trying to think. You're coming from a long way away, and you've got someone from your high school class in Cam Davis that, you guys are coming up here together. What was that relationship like, and how helpful was it to have someone that you could do this with that was coming from your high school team?
Honestly, it's truly a blessing, because that's my guy. That's my best friend, and to be able to come here and just share the field together again for these next couple of years, it's a blessing, man. That's all I can say. I'm truly grateful for it, and I know that we're going to accomplish some bigger things here to come, and I'm just very excited, I'm still excited, just like I was when I committed.
How far does your relationship go back?
We go back all the way to 7th grade. Yeah, we started playing football together in 7th grade, and from there on, we decided to go to high school together. And then high school, our dream was always to play together in college. Made that happen. So then we're trying to make it to the next step, man. Yes, sir.
You obviously had a lot of success, I'm guessing, in high school, even before that. But with the way you're playing right now, is this the most confident you've been as a football player?
Yeah, this is the most confident I've been just because skill-wise, I've been able to get a lot better from high school. Coming out here, competing with some great guys like Rome, Jalen, stealing stuff from them, stealing releases from them, learning from June. All this type of stuff is just making me just get better, and we're all just pushing each other to grow and, become better.
You mentioned setting goals for yourself.
Yeah.
What's your current goal for the remainder of the season, or maybe a smaller goal?
Well, a big goal of mine, is to get that first 100-yard game. I was really close against Arkansas State. I had 95 yards, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the 100.
Did you have a close second in recruiting?
In recruiting, I had a few schools, that were showing a lot of interest, like UCLA and Cal. Those are probably the top 2 schools that were showing the most interest. But besides that, I was fully committed here.
What was it about Washington that set it apart for you?
The program, definitely. Just seeing the production they have and the players they put in the NFL. My main goal is to make it to the NFL. So just seeing that, I see a lot of opportunity here. So I just came to this program and I'm bought in,
I imagine you and Cam had some similar schools recruiting you, but probably some different schools recruiting you. Was there ever a time where you thought maybe that dream of playing with him at the college level might not happen, or did you know that you were going to do it?
Yeah, no, at first, actually, when Cam committed to Washington, I was thinking about committing to Cal, and I didn't have Washington at the time. So, I was trying to get Cam to decommit from Washington, like, come on, man, you got to come play with me. But, all ended up working out, and we're both here, so I'm grateful for that, and I wouldn't second guess or change anything.
When you mentioned before the guys in your room, Rome, Jalen, Giles, all those guys, and they're all back now for the first time this season. Obviously, JP is still down, but when you look around that room, how much confidence do you have in that group as a whole right now?
Oh yeah, even more confidence now having Rome back. That's my brother, so I know what he's capable of. So I'm excited just to see him display it and for you guys to be able to see what he's actually able to do. I'm really excited for him.
Tosh, real quick, what are you studying in school?
Real estate. Yes, sir.
Is that it? All right.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Dope.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, come on up.
How you guys doing?
What would you say you guys wanted to improve at the most after the first two games as an O-line?
Improve on. Probably just communication. That's probably the big thing for us this week, especially going down to Corvallis. Probably just communication. I'd probably say that's just the biggest thing we got to improve on. First and foremost, just talking, getting on the same page. Can never do anything wrong when all of y'all doing the same thing at the same time. So.
When you guys, obviously struggle in the first two games, just how much motivation is there as a line, as a group, to kind of bounce back from those kind of adversity?
Every week we try to get better on something, and so seeing those first two games bouncing back, I think we take those personally as the O-line on ourselves as a unit. I think so. Like every week we try to clean those small details up because it's only in the small things, and so we try to get better in pass pro or whether this scheme, technique, footwork. So we take those drills day in and day out and try to improve on them each week. So from those first 2 weeks, we've been trying to dig deeper a little bit as a unit. So
At the beginning of the season, you guys were being lauded as one of the top offensive lines in the country, probably the best in the conference. But a lot of people just looking at the performance out there, it doesn't measure up to the preseason accolades. Any explanation on why it just hasn't been there?
I probably would say I wouldn't really much focus on that because at the beginning of the season we wasn't focused on that either. So we wasn't focused on the preseason rankings or the naysayers or what they got us ranked. So coming in the season we have goals for ourselves, and I think we kind of stuck by them, and I think we're trying to still stick by them no matter the record or what goes on game in and game out. So I think we're trying to develop and grow as a unit more than anything.
How far away are you guys? How far away is the offensive line right now from where you think it really should be?
It's never really like a set stratosphere, I guess the word it would be. I guess it's kind of unlimited, I guess, for me. I think we can always be better. And I think Coach Huff, he says it all the time. It's a standard, and then we got to surpass that standard each and every game. So, keep pushing it.
You're a Texas guy. There's a few more Texas kids that have come up. Just how does it feel now having a few more Texas players around you?
Oh, it feels good. Get to talk about stuff that we miss back home, talk about how we miss home or how bad this weather is, or So it's pretty fun to talk about it. Get a sense of home up here, away from home. So.
Being so far from home, I met your mom before the first game, and that's a long way to come for football games, but she's here supporting. I just wonder what it's like to have family making that trek for you.
Oh, that's pretty nice. My family's from Arkansas and Texas. my mom was the only one in Texas, but everybody from Arkansas and Texas came up for the first 4 games. They're kind of burnt out right now, so they took a break off the last game. So, but yeah, it's pretty nice seeing them come all this way. Getting their support after the game, seeing them after the game, seeing them before the game in the dog walk. That kind of gives me a little boost, kind of gets me going a little bit more. So it's pretty nice.
As a lineman, is it more preferable to have a run game to start to kind of set that tempo and then get the pass pro, or is it the opposite where you maybe want to set the pass up and then go for the run?
Honestly, it's just getting a feel. I think once you get like those first 2-3 plays, once you get that first hit, I think anything goes. I don't care if it's a pass or a run. I'm ready to go once I get that first collision. So as offensive lineman, whatever JD calls, whatever Demo goes with, we're running it and we're going at it full speed.
Michigan, Coach Lake mentioned the slow start. Now you're going back on the road against Oregon State. How do you change that from Michigan to Oregon State?
I think that the big emphasis this week is just getting off to a fast start. I mean, like just practice, just focusing on communicating and getting everything, the operation down. Once you get the operation down and the communication down, I think everything starts to flow with itself and everything starts to play out. The playmakers can make plays, we can block and get everything going up front, and I think that's where it starts at.
Is that it? All right. Thanks, Vic.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.